Here we are, and we're coming to Too Many Games out here in Pennsylvania. We're going to check out whatever they have when it comes to games and see what's going on, because we love video games and that's why we're here. And I hear there's a tournament, a fighting tournament, and I want to get my dukes up to see how good we'll do. So check out the video and let's see how far we actually get. Let's go. Hold up. There's one more purpose to this video. I wanted to meet with friends Adam Koralik, James Riener, and others that I'm familiar with who might be here, trying another attempt at a failure from a couple of years prior. You see, in 2018 I didn't really personally know anyone from the gaming YouTube community, but there was a local gaming convention in my area that would open the door at an opportunity to meet some of them. I wanted to meet Corey Marshall, the voice of Ryo Hazuki in Shenmue, but also Adam Koralik, who was with Corey Marshall at this convention. Unfortunately, I didn't meet any of them, but I did meet Dan from Console Wars. I did eventually get to meet them much later, which was awesome. However, I wanted to once again try and find Adam Koralik and James Riener at this convention. Would I be lucky? Here we go. So walking into the venue, there were a lot of things going on, but I wanted to head straight for what games we could play, which was our first walkarounds point. And guess what? Once again, I already ran into Dan from Console Wars. I like the fact that they have classic consoles here, like in most conventions for gaming, because I like to revisit those old consoles. And just for an added tidbit, I joined a Mortal Kombat on the Sega Genesis tournament today, and I'm going to see how I do, and if I do well. I'm actually in the mood for a few more games, maybe beating a few foes in Street Fighter and seeing if I can actually compete with people around here today. What do you got going on?
Play some video games. Let's play some old-ass games.
Let's play some old-ass games. Let's go. Now, speaking of fighting games and the tournament I joined, I was pumped and hyped to be part of a fighting tournament. I've never played any type of fighting game tournament in any setting other than just with a few friends. This was going to be the first time my skills would be tested. With this in mind, I wanted to make sure I was ready to do the best I possibly could. I want to share with you 5 things I do to prepare myself for fighting games against real-life opponents. I use these strategies whenever I face anyone, and it fares me pretty well, so let's see how it turns out for the tournament. Here we go. Number 1. Know the game you're playing on the system you're playing it on. Simple, right? Just know what you're going to be playing. For the tournament, we were going to play the first Mortal Kombat game on the Sega Genesis with a 3-button controller. This means that high punch and low punch are on the A button, low kick is on the B button, and high kick is on the C button. Start is block. If you don't know the controls, you're in trouble. Luckily, I had that covered because that's how I used to have to play back in 1993 and 94 when I first played Mortal Kombat on the Sega Genesis. Now remember, these are my strategies from playing fighting games since the early 90s. I'm not a super expert in any of them, but I tend to stand a chance in many one-on-one versus games because I follow most of these principles. Now, number 2, be familiar with more than one character. If you've got your favorite character to stick to, that's great, but having more than one mastered means that your opponent won't be able to easily learn your fighting pattern because you switched it up by entering with another character. Now the third is debatable, but it helps with your fighting game psychology. Basically play different fighting games against real opponents. I jumped in to play Capcom vs SNK 2 on this video, but what wasn't filmed is that I played other fighting games as well. Mortal Kombat 2, Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, and more. Basically this helped improve my reflexes and see the patterns that people stick to when playing any fighting game, and of course, develop a counter and offensive strategy against anybody. Moving on to number 4 and a very important strategy. If you know your opponents in the tournament, take your time to watch them play and get a feel for who their characters are and what moves they frequent. Remember that they will more than likely try the same moves on you, so think of ways to counter their fighting style. If you end up facing them, you'll be one step ahead. Finally, the 5th and potentially most important rule. When you're actually in the tournament, don't be afraid to change things up. If your opponent is catching you off guard, pay attention. He may have picked up your pattern, so switch it up when you have to. Here's a quick story for you. While fighting this fight in the tournament, I was Sub-Zero and my opponent was having good time battling with me as Johnny Cage. I realized early on that my controller's D-pad was very stiff, meaning that quarter circle movements on this particular controller were almost impossible to get off. So how did I switch it up in the next fight? I selected Scorpion. Scorpion's main spear throw did not need quarter circle movements on the D-pad, which allowed me to switch my fighting style and be a bit more aggressive while working past my limitation. And that's my point. Switch it up. Know your controls. Know more than one character. Develop a counteroffensive. Know your opponent and change things up. It all applies in rule number 5. Now let's see how I did in the tournament.
Round 1. Fight! Finish him! Is that your best? Sub-Zero wins. Round 2. Fight! Finish him! Scorpion wins. Fatality.
Made it past round 2. Now I'm in the finals. I'm nervous as hell. That controller is stiff. You can't move. See you later.
Round 3. Fight! Execution. That was pathetic. Sub-Zero wins.
That was fun. Let's go.
So after winning the tournament and watching a few other events like an unexpected wrestling match between Liu Kang versus Waluigi, I was communicating with James Riener, and it seemed that he had left for a moment, so Manny and I were just going to wrap up for the day and see if we could meet up with them later. And we're back! That was a great day! I won the Mortal Kombat tournament.
I was there for support.
He was there for support and holding the camera, which was amazing. This TooManyGames was awesome. Instead, yeah, we missed Comic-Con, which was going on at the same time, but it didn't matter because I'm more of a gaming fan. I love playing games. Check out my last video on the Shenmue trailer, and definitely thanks to TooManyGames for that tournament. It was fun. It was real nostalgic. What'd you think of the day?
I thought it was a lot of fun and it was nostalgic. Oh wait, you just said that. Other than that, we did have a lot of fun. We played a lot of games. I saw him beat many people in Street Fighter and just about every fighting game that he played. I don't know how he did it, or maybe just they're not that great, but he did it.
Honestly, it's like I'm not an expert when it comes to fighting games like that when compared to those that go to tournaments. But if I could go to an itty-bitty tournament, beat up itty-bitty little fighters, and win an itty-bitty little trophy, it's all good.
And get a t-shirt.
And I got a t-shirt too. But anyway, unfortunately at that point, Manny wanted to leave. Thanks for joining us today. This is Manny, this is Magnus, and we're out. See you guys next time.